Lawmakers are embarking on what could be the final tour of the site where one of America's deadliest mass shootings took place. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, families of some of the shooting victims will join the group as they tour the 1200 building of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. The father of victim Jaquan Oliver says he will not be there, but he did have this to say.
Well, I celebrate what the parents are doing. I think it's going to be a great lesson for many of our representatives that I believe will be there. And as much as I won't be there, I think we live in a nation where we need to do these extreme actions to let people understand. So anything that they do, it's more than valid. And we, again, salute the parents behind this. Well, this is beyond that for me, okay? This is not about one person, Peterson. This is about 17 victims. And it's also about a whole nation that needs to react something that we already know that happened, something that we already know that this person in particular was there and did nothing. It's bizarre that we need to go through the whole thing again so everyone else can understand, including the judge and including the whole society. Again, it's not about one person. It's about some parents that decided to go in this direction, and I celebrate that decision.
Reports also say there will be a reenactment of the 2018 massacre as part of the civil suit against Scott Peterson. Now, that was the deputy who was acquitted in the trial where he was accused of failing to act during the incident. He was the school resource officer, one of them there on campus at that time. Still with us, Marie Pereira, Sonny Slaughter. One of the reasons it was important to me that we discuss what was going on is because this is a congressional visit along with some of the families, as we just heard. Good in terms of the Congress and the congressional members are part of the system that makes our laws. They are going to follow the school visit with a school safety roundtable. So clearly the entire intent is to work on school safety, and I think we can all agree that is much needed. But having said that, this building, we know, first of all, the jury was allowed to tour the building. The cards from Valentine's Day were still on the floor. Everything was exactly as it was on the day of the shooting. Then we know that families were scheduled to visit the school, and that was canceled. Now we know there's a congressional visit, as well as some family members choosing to go to visit the school. And then we know it also may be used in the civil lawsuit. But at what point, or is there a point, is a better question, when the school itself, something needs to be done to commemorate the victims? Marie, your thoughts?
I don't want to sound like I'm just being callous, but I don't see the point of it. But then again, I didn't have people who were lost there, you know, who were close to me and my family. I don't see that Congress sending members to go through that gory crime scene is going to change anything. They're well aware of what damage guns do and what the legislation which allows weapons of war to be purchased by ordinary citizens, what that does. And I don't believe that that visit is going to change anyone's position. I think it's time for closure in this situation, and it's just going to prolong pain. And congressional visits, going through the halls and seeing blood spatter and cards and just remnants of everything that happened, is not going to change what congressional members are doing and what their positions are when it comes to gun control. Everyone has a side. That visit is not going to change that.
And Sonny, weigh in and also share your expertise with law enforcement. Is this something that you think could make any kind of difference moving forward in terms of training, preparation, being ready, etc., if there's a horrific, unexpected event like this?
So I agree with Marie in every single thing that she said. And Judge, I think your questions are really on point and your concern about this. And one of the things, the congressional folks are not in law enforcement training. I'm going to talk about this particular case at the end of this month with law enforcement leaders across the state. But the congressional folks are not a part of the training. They have no say in what the training looks like. And At this point, I am not sure what type of closure the family members are going to get by going through this particular process. But as Marie also said, I am not a person who had a family member there, and this might be the way for them to get closure, but it actually does not address the issue. And the issue is gun control, gun violence, and what are we going to do as a nation to stop that portion of it? We have to address this on a multi-pronged front, but I'm not sure the tour is going to make much of a difference.
All right, and I do appreciate that one of the family members we just saw during his interview said it was a group of parents that got all this started, and I celebrate what they have chosen to do. I think they all recognize as victims, they each have to find their place in terms of some type of healing, if that's even possible. Of course, all my thoughts to every one of the victims in that case. All right, ladies, Philadelphia Eagles football player Joshua Sills, charged with kidnapping and raping a woman back in 2019, is in trial. If convicted, he's facing 11 to 16 years on each felony count. Now we get to go back into court because the second defense witness is Dr. Andrea McCullum, and she has not, let me rephrase that, she is allowing cameras in the courtroom. So let's get you back inside the court.
And it can be done in multiple ways. It can be done with hand, so that's manual strangulation. It can be done with a ligature, which can be thin or broad, or an object like a foot or a board, something that just compresses the neck. So that's strangulation, and it's force applied by an outside force and not the person themselves.
Okay, and once that force is applied, is there a period of time that will elapse if the force is continued to be applied where it will render an individual unconscious or in fact become lethal?
Yes.
And would you tell us a little bit about that process?
Mm-hmm. So, do you want me to go into the physiology of what the compression?
Briefly, it's...
Okay. So there's things in the neck that when they're compressed can cause a person to become unconscious. And you have the vessels that run on both sides of the neck, so artery that's taking blood from the heart to the brain, veins that are bringing blood back from the brain back to the lungs, and then the airway going from the mouth into the lungs, and any of those can be compressed, and